Hey everybody, Alan with Rolling Through History here. Today we want to go over the game board setup for whenever you're in combat, okay? And combat in general. We have our game board setup rules here, and we also have our combat rules, okay? Real easy. It's not that hard, but it can be a little overwhelming when you first play, so this should give you a quick rundown of how to do it. Let's say your players run into something that they're going to possibly fight, okay? It could be hostile people, it could be hostile animals. For this one, we'll just say that we got a couple of bandits today, okay? So these are our player token or player character tokens, basically. They're going to be the guys that your players pick, and then we use these as our bad guys. So one nice thing about these is we can write on them, so I can put 1 and I can put 2 on here so that I can keep track of who's who, because that's going to be important here in a minute, okay? So they roll and everybody goes, well, how does combat start? Well, combat is generally going to start when the first aggressive act happens, okay? And that's going to be up to the narrator to decide. If they roll, and depends on how you want to do it. If you want to throw them right into combat, hey, guys start coming out of the hill shooting at them, that's great. If you want to try and make it more like a stick-up type of deal where they meet them on the road and they try and rob them and they're trying not to just actively shoot them, then it'll come down to when your players decide to start fighting back, basically. And then that's when they go into combat. So the moment they go into combat, they'll roll for to see what the attack order is. So everybody, including your bad guys at the table, will roll one of these, okay? So you'll roll it, and let's say this is going to be our blue guy here. So I'm just going to come over here, and I'm going to write B for blue, and I will write 9. Well, we don't need to write 9. We're just going to keep an order. So there's our blue guy, okay? And we may have to adjust this. But so there's 6. So let's say that that's our red guy. 17, we'll say that's our green guy, okay? So that keeps us in order of how we're going to do it. And then let's say just randomly this guy here rolled a 7. So you could put your first bad guy there. Then you can write bandit or whatever you want over here. You can write the names of your players, however you need to do it. It's just to keep track of everybody. Let's say this last guy here, he rolled the lowest and he got into a 2. All this means is after you get your combat mats set up, all right, so we have kind of this going on. We'll say we put a wagon back here. Okay, we got maybe a river or something that flows up through here. Okay. Real easy, real just simple. It's just kind of a guide for them, okay? Now, our first guys on here is green. Let's say these guys are trying to stick him up or something, and he needs to decide what he wants to do. And he can either talk to him. If that's the case, you can have him roll a persuasion, a check to see if he can get him to go along with him. Or if they just want to go straight into combat, that's when we started our initiative order here, our attack order. And he's first. So let's say he wants to try and get behind some cover and then shoot. These guys get to move 25 feet. Each one of these squares is 5 feet. And we can move him back here. So he's got a little bit of cover there, right? And then he wants to try and hit this guy. Now, if they decide, I want to try and get to that guy, you're going to have to tell him to move, right? There's a wagon in the way. So remember, real world issues. There's a wagon in the way. I can't even see that guy anymore, but we can see that guy. So he wants to take a shot at him. Pretty much everybody in the game that's human going to have about a 10 to hit. Even your guys, everybody's about 10 to hit. It's an average roll. So you roll. That's a 9. So he's going to miss. Now, if we rolled this and he hit a 10 or higher, right? Well, let's say he got a 17. That means he would hit him. He's going to take his D6. Little cubes. We've all used them for Monopoly and everything else. These are just different because they actually just say the number instead of giving you little dots. So he'll roll that. That'll tell you how many points of damage he does to the bad guy. And you can keep track of that up here in the corner where we wrote it down. So that was 1. So everybody starts with 6 points, no matter who you are. And that means you can subtract that. And he now has 5 points of damage. There are 5 health points left anyways. Now, if this here rolls a 1, One is the worst possible outcome. You can say his gun jams. You can say he trips and falls on his run over here. Something inventive, something creative to make it realistic and just kind of things that could happen in the real world. If they get a 20, that's the best possible outcome. In general, you want to do something good. What we do is when they roll the dice, and there's another one, what they'll do is they'll just double how much damage they do. So instead of doing 1 point, they would do 2 points, and you would write 4 instead of 5 up there. And then everybody gets a move, their movement, and an attack or an action. So you kind of have to decide as the narrator if what they're trying to do isn't just straight attacking, would that take up their whole action? Usually I'll let them yell stuff back and forth. Hey, there's a guy over there. But if they want to go and dig through the back of their wagon because they didn't have their gun on them or something, that's going to take their action. But if they just want to attack, that's simple enough. If it's something like, they may need to roll for a check in the middle of the game. Hey, can I look around and see if there's anybody else around? You can decide whether or not that's their action, and then you just have them roll this and decide how hard or how easy it is and go from there. Super simple. After his turn is over, he's taken his movement and his action. It just moves on to the next guy, and then he will follow the same rules. He can move, he can attack, or he can do a separate action, and then you just kind of call it as you need to call it. That's a real simple overview of how this all is going to work when you're getting into combat. It's all in the book. So if you get stuck in the middle of the game, you don't have to come back here and watch this. You can read about it real quick, and it'll kind of explain everything. In the next one, we'll talk about death in the game and how to handle that, especially with your kids, because some kids can get upset about that. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you.